everyone, Pam Gregory, astrologer. I'm going to be talking to you today about the second half of July and the new moon that we have coming up in Leo on the 23rd. Now we have continuing in this half of the month the grand trine in fire that I was talking about in the last video. This is an equilateral triangle between Saturn in Sagittarius, Uranus in Aries and the North Node in Leo, and they are operating between 21 and 28 degrees of the fire sign. So if you have anything 21 to 28 degrees of either Aries, Leo or Sagittarius, you might particularly feel the inspiration of this. It's future oriented and it's encouraging us to do new things, new ways of doing old things, a lot of innovation, a lot of new ideas coming in that we can generate. And that's also connected to our collective destiny because it's connected to the North Node. So there's a feeling of a need for newness coming in. And that could be quite a step change as well. Now, the energy continues to be very strong through this second half of July, just as it has been in the first half. In fact, from the 10th to the 20th of the month, we have Mars squaring Eris and Uranus in Aries. Mars is in Cancer. So that's operating between 23 and 28 degrees of the cardinal signs. So there's a Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. So this is very restless energy. It's impetuous, it's impulsive, it's impatient, wants to see action very quickly. Things can be very speeded up, but it can be impetuous and impulsive actions without necessarily thinking things through thoroughly. So be very mindful of that, particularly if you have planets aspected 23 to 28 of the cardinal signs. Now, we're going to see some particularly peak days within that, because on the 16th of the month, we have the moon coming together with Eris and Uranus in Aries, so highlighting that square to Pluto and also involving Mars. Then on the 22nd of the month, we have the moon in Cancer, opposing Pluto, squaring Jupiter, and forming a loose cardinal grand cross involving Eris and Uranus in Aries. So those days, particularly where I've been talking about the moon, can be days when we have very intense energy, very strong energy, but there's an urge to action with this. It's restless, it can create sudden unexpected events. There may be issues around, as I've been talking quite a lot recently, around equality, justice, fairness. That isn't just Jupiter in Libra, that's also the dwarf planet Eris, which always in myth fights against oppression and injustice of the many by the few and wants to rebalance that. So we're going to see the issues that we've already seen, I think, continuing, but the energy is very strong. The energy is very intense. Then on the 20th of the month, Mars moves from Cancer into Leo. 2 days later, on the 22nd, the Sun moves into Leo, and the two of them travel together. Mars and the Sun travel together for the next 5 weeks, so well into August. They come together exactly on the 26th of July. So again, that will be a strong day when we might see a lot of action happening in the world, assertive action. So it's very good for getting things done. If you have planets in Leo, this is tremendous for energizing and activating, getting that area of life, getting something achieved there. It has to be said, Mars and the Sun in Leo traveling together can be quite autocratic, bit of a bully. But on the other hand, in general, Leo energy is wonderful. It's very creative, it's playful, it's fun, it's upbeat, it's proud, it's honest, it has integrity, and it's about letting your light shine. It's about heart energy, living from the heart. And of course we have the North Node in Leo at the moment. Our collective evolution, our collective intent in terms of our future direction is very much connected to Leo and this heart energy. So really think about that. Can you turn your play into a passion? Can you turn your passion into a living, into an income? Think about creativity and see where Leo falls in your chart, because can you bring more play into that area? That's going to be quite an important area for you this year, because many of the eclipses over the next 18 months are falling in Leo and Aquarius. Then on the 23rd of the month, we have the new moon at 0:44 of Leo. This happens at 2:45 a.m. Pacific and 10:45 a.m. UK time. So this is again strong energy, because we have 7 planets plus the North Node in fire at this time of the new moon. We have the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Mars, and the North Node in Leo. We have Saturn in Sagittarius, and we have the dwarf planet Eris and Uranus in Aries. So that's a lot of fire. Mars is very tightly conjunct the Sun and the Moon within about 1 degree, so that really gives tremendous energy and impetus to this Leo full moon. So we have a lot of fire and we have a lot of Mars, all during the rest of this month. Now, this is very much a new beginning. Every new moon is a new beginning. So it's a great idea to set an intention of what you plant a seed for what you want to unfold over the coming month. And that will be conditioned not only by the general update I'm doing here, but if you know where 1 degree of Leo falls in your chart, is it 10th house of career, is it 2nd house of money, is it 5th house of creativity and romance, then that will again make your intention more specific for you. So it's really important that you know where all these aspects fall, because it just enriches your journey so much. You get much more depth and meaning from what I'm saying here. So if you don't know where these aspects fall in your chart, check out this link appearing above. It'll take you to my story by 2-part tutorial videos, and that will explain everything you need to know starting from 0 about how to find where these aspects fall in your chart to enable you to do things like set a new beginning and anticipate what's going to be coming up for you over the next month or so. So strong energy at this time. In addition, we have the Sun, Moon and Mars squaring Uranus. Now it's out of sign, square, it doesn't matter, it's still a square. And that's about walking your talk, being authentic, being honest, being who you are. Mars together with the Sun and Moon is be bold, be courageous, be a pioneer, take risks, step out. And we also have at this time, which is very positive, we have a lovely trine between Sun, Moon and Mars and Chiron. Again, slightly out of sign, doesn't matter. This can bring a healing in you. It can bring some shift in perspective for you that will create a healing for you. The other important aspect to talk about at this new moon is Jupiter and Pluto in their square are coming closer together. Now, I've mentioned this in previous videos, that if you see where Jupiter is in your chart, 1516 of Libra, that's an area of potential success, expansion and abundance for you right now. Pluto, 1718 of Capricorn, that's an area where you are seeing some gradual empowerment for you, stepping into your power. In a mundane context, in a world context, these 2 planets in square can sometimes raise issues around debt, deficit, taxes, that sort of thing. So we need to watch for that too. I also want to say that I want to have an eye on America at the moment. And the reason I'm saying that is we are already within the eclipse energy. We're going to have 2 eclipses in August. The big one is the total solar eclipse on the 21st of August. I'm going to be talking much more about that in future videos. The path of the eclipse falls west-east across America, and it's already being referred to as the Great American Eclipse. So I have an eye on America because you tend to get the greatest manifestations of an eclipse where the eclipse path falls. Now, if we look at the chart for the current US administration, which began 20th of January, noon, Washington, for some time and continuing, we have Eris and Uranus, the midpoint of those, squaring the midheaven of that chart. And what that means is sudden shocks, sudden changes of direction, sudden disruptions happening around the administration. I think we've seen quite a bit of that already. If we look at the chart for America, of call it a birth chart for America, which began at the Declaration of Independence on the 4th of July 1776 at 1710 Philadelphia. Currently, we have transiting Saturn opposing the US Mars. That's got a strong militaristic aspect. We also have transiting Mars conjunct US Mercury in that birth chart and opposing US Pluto in that birth chart. And what that means is vigorous, strong action, strong, even angry words maybe, connected to foreign countries, foreign alliances and foreign countries. And it's very important to act with integrity because Pluto rules the 12th house of karma, if you like, for that country. So there's a lot of action happening, I think, in America. I go into much more detail in my monthly newsletter. I talk about the astrocartography of this time and which countries may be coming to the fore more. So if you'd like much more information, just subscribe to my newsletter, pamgregory.com, because not only do I anticipate what's coming up in the next month, I also go back over global events for the previous month and give you the proof of the pudding of how astrology is working in the world. It's a great way to learn astrology, by the way. So I think because the energy is so strong outwardly at this time, I mean, the combination of Mars, Eris, Uranus, Pluto, all in hard aspect, it doesn't get much stronger than that. So there will be a lot of outward action, strong, assertive, bold action happening in the world. Make sure you don't get caught up in that and become too overly assertive yourself. Equally, make sure you're not the victim of anyone else's strong action too. We need to keep our equilibrium. But I think all of this is really challenging us more, pointing more for us to create our own power center. And that's that quiet self inside you. And I've mentioned this several times. We're being encouraged to turn inwards. Neptune retrograde in Pisces, Chiron retrograde in Pisces. Chiron is a shift in spiritual perspective. Neptune is unconditional love, it's source, it's higher self, it's your intuition. We're being encouraged to turn inwards to that still small place to find our power. And we've got heart energy at the moment. We've got this new moon in Leo. We've got the North Node in Leo for almost the next 18 months. So the simple act of just slowing your breathing in and out through your heart, within a couple of minutes actually lowers your cortisol levels, lowers your stress levels. It's measurable. That's such a free, easy tool to have within yourself. So if you do that and more connect to that quiet place, that's the place from which we create. Because if we can create a frequency which is calmer, more peaceful, more joyful, that's what we're sending out to the world, to create our own reality, but also to change the collective reality. And if we're seeing some very challenging things happening, strong things happening in the world, that is just yesterday's frequency. It's yesterday's frequency of the collective. But because we're creating in every moment, we have at every moment the chance to make that different for ourselves and for the world. And even a 1% difference in your frequency, slightly calmer, slightly more joyful, slightly more peaceful, can really change the trajectory for you going forwards. 2%, a bigger change in the trajectory of your life going forward. So these simple things that are so calming and all for free, I would really encourage you to do when life gets busy and strong on the outside. So look forward to this new moon in Leo, and thank you so much for listening.